Hey everyone, it's Michael from Replica Airguns, and I've got this Sig Sauer MCX. This is a .177 caliber, and it is basically a CO2 gun. Pop these either 88 or 90 gram CO2 cartridges in the back, the big ones, and you got yourself probably several hundred shots, probably close to 300 shots, .177 caliber pellets. I have reviewed the MPX, which is a short-barreled version of it. I'm going to compare it. This guy, right, a little shorter, bit more compact version, but basically the same gun, just got some different cosmetics, shorter barrel. They take the same magazines, probably the stocks and everything are interchangeable. This one has the pop-up sights, but I got some optics on it. You know, you can put some different things in here if you want, different accessories, whatever you want to do with it, you can do with it. That is the MPX, and I have reviewed that gun. I've done field test and tabletop videos for that one. That one I did bring in across the border. Because of the shorter barrel, it had the lower FPS, which allowed me to bring it in as basically an unregulated firearm. But this guy is the Canadian version of the MCX, and what's different about it? Technically, not really that much. I don't even think it's going to be that much different in power because it has a 5.7 joule rating with a lead pellet, you know, using something like a 6 or 7 grain pellet or something like that. That means it's going to be shooting pretty fast. You know, we have basically a claimed FPS here of about 495. We'll see what it shoots. That on paper, though, even the US version, even though it says it's like 600 or whatever FPS, that's using really lightweight ammo. So when you get into the real world using lead ammo instead of this alloy ammo, you're probably going to get a little bit slower shots. Even with the US version, I still kind of feel the US version should be Canada legal because it's not going to shoot, I don't think it'll shoot over 5.7 joules. This one won't shoot over 5.7 joules for sure, but we'll find out when I do the field test shooting video. I know I've been rambling on about it, and I want to get into the specifications and everything. But I also wanted to mention, because we got a ton of SIG rifles here today, we've got the MCX Virtus, and I've already reviewed this one. This is a PCP gun, so instead of CO2, you've got a PCP tank on it, which is compressed air, and then you have 22 caliber rounds, so definitely more powerful. This is basically a regulated firearm here in Canada. You need a firearms license. I did bring it across using my firearms license, but it's a regulated firearm, and it just shoots .22 caliber lead pellets or whatever kind of pellets, and it gets, you know, pretty good power, about 12 foot-pounds of energy, so more than double what this one should have. Because you're using PCP compressed air and you're using a much larger pellet, heavier pellet at the end of the day. So hopefully this stays put. Okay, we'll put that there. All right, so let's talk about this guy. We'll go over some specifications. I've got my paper here so I don't forget anything. But before I get started, all of these, well, not all of them, at least the MCX .177 caliber CO2 version and the MPX, or the MCX is available here in Canada. All of them should be available in the US though, in our US store, just that certain versions of these guns we only have in Canada. And all right, again, both in the Canadian and the US store. So let's go over the specs real quick. We have a metal and nylon build gun, so it's gonna have metal parts, it's gonna have some plastic parts, but they do weigh in pretty good. It's gonna weigh in at almost 8 pounds, so 7.75 pounds, 3.5 kilograms. That's plenty of weight. For this guy, especially when you get the CO2 and it loaded up with some ammo, 30 rounds, it's going to add a little bit of weight to it as well. It shoots in semi-auto only, so it's got a selector switch which puts it in safe or semi-auto. And the actual rounds that you can put in these magazines, I'll get more into it a little bit here, but you have a 30 round magazine, belt-fed magazine on these guys, so you can take these out, these belts out. They just come out. If you want, you can take it right out, or you could load it in there, but I'd take it right out because there's a tool that you use once you're loading them, and it pushes the pellet and seats it in properly, so use this tool for them. So you can pull this right out on your table and then load it up, okay? So works pretty good. 30 rounds. You can get extra magazines if you want, and just load them in like you would a traditional, right? Traditional gun, right? Right in the magwell area, no problem, just like you would. A little bit different looking magazine, but it works traditionally the same. And yeah, 30 rounds. What else we can get in here? It is semi-auto, so you know, again, it's not going to be full auto as fast as you can pull the trigger. Okay. Internally, there's a bolt. Hear how it kind of clicks. If I do this, this is just pretty much indexing the magazine. Right. So this full, you got the internal bolt. and then when you pull this, you're actually indexing the magazine a little bit. Okay, so you will feel a little bit of internal blowback action, but it's not that much. Again, it uses the 88 gram and the 90 gram CO2 cartridges. It has a 17.7 inch barrel, so it's a much longer barrel. This has about an 8-inch barrel. Okay, so it's going to be a little slower, less powerful because of that. And then you have the 17-inch barrel, 17.7 inch barrel in the MCX over the MPX. The total length is going to be 34.7 inches. It does have an adjustable and flip up front and back sights. Okay, they are fully adjustable. And you have this tool right here that actually can adjust this up and down for elevation. And then on the back, I'm pretty sure you can use the same tool, but you can do it manually, but you can adjust this for windage as well. And you have different peep up sights. I'll show you when I get in there. You got a narrow one or a smaller peep, and then a wider one for quicker shooting. If you want a slightly larger target view, you can do that as well. And these iron sights can be removed. You can put whatever you want on here in terms of red dots or any type of optics that you want to put on there. Magnified scope if you want as well. Again, 5.7 joules it says on the box. I will show you the box in a bit here, but 5.7 joules. It actually doesn't say feet per second, but because our Canada laws allow us up to 5.7 joules, technically it doesn't matter what the feet per second. As long as it doesn't exceed 5.7 joules, it can go as fast as you want. So it's got to go over both thresholds. So we'll find out what the feet per second is when I shoot it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be under 500, but if it's over, it's not a big deal, as long as it doesn't go a lot over and exceed that 5.7 joules. Now you're going to find on here, you got your Picatinny Weaver rail on top, and then you have M-LOK attachments or M-LOK. You've got the M-LOK area here where you can put whatever. You could put stuff on the side, you know, lasers, tactical lights, whatever. You've got this little pistol grip here. You can move that around if you want to. All right. So it is designed by Sig. It's made in Japan. Sig has a lot of hands-on with the company, so they're a big part of the designing. Even though they don't make it in their factory, it's made in an Airgun factory in Japan. But there's a lot of, you know, obviously communication back and forth to get the product just right for Sig before they market it. And they have, technically, when they come out with products like this, they don't generally try to rush them. There's been times when they said they were going to come out with a certain product like this, different versions of these guns, and it took a little while longer. Like the Virtus took a little longer than we expected, but they wanted to get things right. So what do you get? You get this tool again. This is for adjusting the sights and seating the pellets. You get a little manual. I mean, you've all seen the manuals. It's nothing. I could show you it, but it just basically instructions on how to use it, how to load the CO2, how to load up the magazines, obviously, all the different functions, how to aim it. It's just like any other manual. Read it. It's a good idea to read it. Make sure you're doing everything right. Let's take a look at the box. Okay, so the front, you're obviously not too much. There's very little information here. 30-round magazine, powered by 90 grams CO2. You could use 88 grams as well if you want. More realistic, economical training and practice. So basically, Sig's saying, hey, this is a training gun. If you already, maybe you own the real steel version, you don't want to be shooting all the different larger caliber rounds, expensive rounds, then you can just go with this gun and get some training in. Okay, on the back, not much on here as well, but on the back, you have, again, what it says on the front, 5.7 joules. Trying to read upside down. Pretty much all the same information. You just got a nice kind of picture of the gun here with some accessories and stuff there. So at least it comes in a nice box, decent box. Now I've compared it to these other products, the MPX and the MCX Virtus, so we know the differences, right? Virtus is 22 caliber, MPX is same, a 177 caliber, but just in a shorter barrel version, right? CO2, PCP. Okay, but let's get in here and nice and tight so you can really get an idea what this gun looks like. All right, when I do the tabletop videos, you get to see it nice and close. So I did want to kind of let you see it nice and close. Right, you have the selector switch here. It's ambidextrous. I'll show you the other side. Forward assist doesn't really work. Dust cover doesn't really work. You do have this magazine release here, right, for the magazine. Pistol grip here in the front, or forward grip, and then you have sort of a mock suppressor kind of thing. The barrel just extends to the front. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, there's the front of it. The barrel goes all the way to the front. Okay, pop-up sights. Picatinny rail, M-lock, rear sight, right? All adjustable. You got your different peeps, right? Different size apertures. If you're shooting long range, you probably want to use the smaller aperture. Nice butt plate, not really rubberized, but kind of, yeah, I'd say it's sort of like a rubber. It's different than the plastic that's on here. Again, that's where your CO2 goes, just a plastic rear stock. Okay, let's turn it around. All right, that gives you a pretty good idea. I just want to give you a close-up of the actual magazine here. I didn't really do that too much. All right, so here it is, and you just open up this loading bay here. And you've got your magazine that you can pull right out and load it up and put it back in. I'll just leave it out for now. But here's your magazine. Okay, 30 rounds, 30 pellets. Pretty easy. Nice little magazines. They're not too heavy. And you can also even, what I've done, you'll notice there's this back area that's kind of hollowed out. I actually will store pellets in there, so I've got extra ones. So if I want to load it up, I could say put another 30 rounds in there, 30 in the magazine itself. And then I got some backup rounds if I need them. And that's pretty much it. That's what I got to show you here. Close up. What I want to talk about now is some of the pros and cons. So there's few pellet guns, there's few pellet rifles, especially replica rifles that look like the real deal, that look like a modern firearm, that shoot semi-automatic and have like high capacity magazines. You don't really get a lot of pellet replicas. We have a lot of BB replicas. Sig's really offering some nice options here, and I'm glad Sig's doing that. So it's a nice pro. You're not going to find too many of these high capacity replica pellet rifles for sure. BB guns again, but not so much pellet. It's really a great replica of the real steel Sig Sauer MCX, including all the licensing and trademarks I showed you. I didn't really go over that, but you got all the Sig licensing and trademarks on it. It's got great build quality, lots of metal parts where you need them to be. It's probably about the same weight as a real steel Sig. I haven't actually checked it out, but I would say about 8 pounds is going to be pretty close to the real steel version. And they have been tested for 15,000 round reliability. So Sig actually tests these guns, puts 15,000 rounds through them, make sure that they're going to withstand the test of time and be reliable for you guys. Again, it's got that 30 round belt fed magazine. It has super high capacity, and my experience with these guns, as long as you're using the right pellets, they work really well. So sometimes you got to find the right pellet, and what that means is some pellets may not feed as well, they might jam a little bit. So work with you know, don't just commit yourself to one type of pellet and say, oh, this gun sucks, it's not feeding right. I found with the Virtus, I was actually using Sig's pellets, and I wasn't getting the best groupings, okay? But then I put some Gammo pellets in it, and it was probably one of the most accurate guns I've shot to date. I was shooting about, I'd say 50 feet out, and I was getting pretty much close to half-inch groupings with this gun, okay? So something pretty cool. So again, make sure you're using the right pellets. Don't commit to one type. Play around until you find the pellet that feeds the right and that has the most accuracy, because they're all gonna affect the gun a little bit differently. Again, this is the Canada legal version, so it's rated to 5.7 joules, which means you're gonna be able to buy this gun. You don't need a firearms license. You won't have any problems with that. We've already imported them into Canada for you in our Canada store, so you can buy them in our Canada store, just buy them without any firearms license, versus the US version, which you might have difficulty because it's claimed to have a certain FPS that the border isn't gonna like, even if it doesn't shoot that fast. If it says it on the box, they just basically, that's what they think it's going to do. Even if Sig's kind of overestimating the power because they're using lighter grain pellets, it just makes it more difficult to bring across. So you don't have to do that. We've done it for you. Now the trigger feels really good on all these guns. The blowback action works the majority of the hardest part of that trigger pull, which is pulling back the internal bolts, the striker, whatever. And then all you're really doing with the trigger is releasing that and just indexing the magazine. And the magazine's actually indexed pretty nicely. They're pretty smooth. So it all feels pretty nice. It's not a long trigger. It's not a heavy trigger. And again, you've got full adjustable sights front and back, pop-up sights. You can take those off if you want. You can put other optics on there. You could put like red dot, or you could put like a 3-power scope or 4-power scope, whatever you want. It's totally up to you. And lots of rail accessory options. Again, you've got M-lock options, so if you want to put different things, foregrips, if you want to put different lasers, if you want to put some sort of tack light, you can really dress this gun up nicely. Now, I don't know exactly how accurate this one's going to be, but I've reviewed both of these. I've reviewed the shorter barreled MPX, and I remember looking back at that video, I was able to get like half-inch groupings from 30 feet out. And even when I shot really quickly, those groupings didn't spread out much at all. I was using a red dot, that does help. But I was able to get, I think, like a 3/4 inch grouping when I just started shooting real fast. That's pretty good. It was getting in on the target, no problem. With the Virtus, again, I wasn't getting my field test shooting video inside the C-can wasn't the best result for that gun. I'm going to admit, I was using the Sig ammo, and it just wasn't like in this gun. It just wasn't this gun, this ammo. I don't know. I put Gammo ammo in, went outside, was shooting 50 feet away instead of 30 feet away and getting better results. So again, choose the ammo wisely. These guns are for sure capable of shooting accurately and reliably. I'll probably play around, and I'm just thinking I'm going to use the Gammo ammo in this one. I might try the Sig ammo. We'll see. I'll play around with it and see what kind of accuracy I can get. All right, so cons. There's always going to be a few cons, so let's go over those real quick here. Now the restock, the rear stock, like the MPX, it's not adjustable. You might find it sits a little bit too close in here, like I'm a little cramped. I like to be a little bit more out, but it is what it is. You can't really extend that as far as I know any other way. I don't believe Sig has a longer stock. I like the length of the gun though. The gun has a nice length. You don't want to go too much longer because of the mock suppressor. So keep that in mind. And again, the internal blowback action, it does help with the trigger, but it doesn't. It would be cool if the actual blowback action indexed the magazine. If it did do that, the cool thing is you could technically almost make this a full auto gun. If the blowback was indexing not just the striker, the bolt, the internal bolt, but the magazine as well, then you could have a full auto feature on it. So that would be cool, especially if it's a non-regulated gun here in Canada. That would be totally legal to have. But it is what it is. It's a semi-auto gun, and it shoots well, and the trigger isn't too bad, even as it is. Again, 88 grams. These 88 gram, 90 gram CO2s, they're not cheap. Okay, they are going to set you back. They're going to be a lot more expensive than regular CO2. But they do obviously hold a lot more. So you're not looking at 12 gram, you're looking at 90 gram. So technically, even if you had a double CO2 version, like a lot of these guns have 2 CO2s, that's 24 gram. This is almost 4 times that, right? So you're gonna get a lot more shots, several hundred shots, maybe even 300 or 400, 500 shots, depending on the gun. So that is good. A little bit more expensive up front, but then you get lots of shots, okay? All right, so again, this is in our Canada store. This version here, the MCX .177 caliber version, is in our Canada store. So check it out. We have 2 versions. We got more than one. We got one that's the tan version. We have this version with the iron sights. The tan version has a red dot, has some sort of an optic on it, but doesn't come with the iron sights. So if you already have a red dot, you might want to go with this if you don't mind an all black gun, because you do have the iron sights that come with it. You put your own red dot on there, and then you probably have potentially a little bit more tricked out gun than the actual red dot tan version. Secondly, we do have the MPX, I believe, in our US store, and the Virtus will be in our US store. Just because we don't have the Canada legal versions yet, that might change. We're looking into a way to get the Virtus into Canada somehow by potentially, we'll follow that up later, but we're trying to see how we can get the Virtus in and make it Canada legal at some way, because that would be a neat gun to bring in since I've reviewed it and all. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching another Replica Airguns video. I will be doing a field test shooting video this week. That's the next video on the list because I want to get this one done. I want to do the tabletop and the field test back to back. So check out that video later on. I'll have it probably up by Friday. This one should be up by Wednesday, which is when you're watching it, or maybe after that. So keep posted on those videos. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're interested in other products, air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and accessories, then again, come on down to replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.